This regular city council meeting of the Oak Park City Council is called to order. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. City Clerk Norris, would you call the roll?
Mayor McClellan.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Radner. Councilmember Burns.
Here.
Councilmember Rich. Councilmember Weiss.
Here.
We have a quorum. Thank you very much. Council members, please note for approval of the agenda, find your agenda and add 10A. It is a request to have a block club party. Please add 10A to special licenses. Number 5, we have a consent agenda. These are routine items presented without discussion. A, regular council meeting minutes of July 1st, 2019. B, special council meeting minutes on the same date. C, planning commission meeting minutes of May 13th. D, payment application number 4, final, to Deutsche Environmental Services for the 2016 Sewer and Catch Basin Cleaning and Televising Project, M641, for the total amount of $1,000. E, licenses new and renewals is submitted for July 15th, 2019. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Second. You guys are going to be busy tonight.
Yeah.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. I don't see elected officials. Do thank everyone for coming, though. We don't have a special recognition or public hearing. There is a communication that might be almost as cute as our resident guest here tonight. But it was, Dear Mayor McClellan, hi, my name is Eli and I'm 4 years old. The other day we were walking and we thought it would be a good idea to put benches under the trees in the middle of Lincoln so kids and their parents and older people, when they get tired and hot, would be a good place to sit. Thank you for considering this idea. Sincerely, Eli, Roderberg, and Mommy. So, of course, I wrote Eli and Mommy back a note talking we'd certainly look into this idea. We want everyone to be safe. That might not be the safest place to sit, but we'd certainly like a nice, safe place to stand while you're crossing Lincoln. But that certainly is the cutest communication I've got. Next, special licenses, number 10. We have that new item 10A that you received before the meeting. Maya Barak on Ithaca Street. It's an application for special event license. And it's a block party to build community among the neighbors. We'd like to close the block to through traffic for the party. Neighbors will share a potluck and games. The event is open to the public. The block party will welcome community members through word of mouth. They expect about 25 to 35 people, 2 o'clock to 6 o'clock. They would like us to please waive the fee as we do for all block parties.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Welcome to the block party. No bids, when there are no ordinances. City
Accounting.
attorney, whoops, question? 11A,
11A,
sorry.
accounting reports.
Accounting reports, thank you. Accounting reports, 11A, approval for payment of invoices submitted by Garen Luca Miller, PC, for legal services in the total amount of $12,591.11. Is there a motion to approve payment?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Burns.
Yes.
Mayor McClellan.
Yes.
Councilmember Weiss.
Yes.
Motion carried. There are no bids or ordinances. City Attorney Ebony Duff, do you have anything to report?
I have no report this evening. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. City Manager Eric Tungate.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd like to ask our Director of Planning and Special Projects, Crystal Van Vleck, to join me at the podium for 15A, please.
All right, so 15A, we have an approval of a grant agreement with the Community Foundation of Southeast Michigan. So I'm happy to report, in January, City Council provided support for the city's grant application to the Community Foundation. Is it on? Can you hear me?
Okay, that's better.
Let me pull it in. In January, City Council provided support for the city's grant application to the Community Foundation of Southeast Michigan and the Ralph C. Wilson Jr. Foundation Legacy Fund for design and access to fund amenities at the Seneca Pocket Park. We're happy to announce that we were granted an award of $50,000. The attached agreement has been reviewed and approved by City Attorney Ebony Duff, and we're requesting that City Council approve the grant agreement.
Okay. We need a motion to approve the grant.
So moved.
Second?
Moved and seconded. Do we need a roll call for this? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No. That's fantastic news.
Yes.
Great work applying for the grant and receiving the grant for the city. It's how we get things done in the city when there isn't enough in the budget. And it's just a blessing that so many of these grants are being approved, thanks to how competent our staff is.
No question about it. 15B, and we added 2 agreements last week to this agenda item, but Crystal, if you could take 15B as well.
So in front of you, you have 2 agreements. The Intergovernmental Operations Agreement with MOGO, and then also a Regional Bike Share Program interlocal agreement with the City of Detroit. So as you know, the city has been working with MOGO and the cities of Detroit, Ferndale, Royal Oak, Berkeley, and Huntington Woods to expand the current public bike share program that's operating in the City of Detroit into our communities. This will offer residents of each of our communities the chance to utilize the MOGO bike share program to reach amenities within and between each of our cities without the use of a car. The participating cities applied and received a Transportation Alternatives Grant, otherwise known as a TAP grant, through SEMCOG to fund a majority of the capital costs to expand the system into our communities. Additionally, MOGO has secured sponsorship to fund a large portion of the costs to operate the system annually. Through public input and our efforts to provide MOGO stations equitably around the city, we've chosen 5 locations to kick off the city's MOGO expansion program. We are now at the finish line of launching the MOGO expansion with 2 separate agreements that have been fully vetted by our city attorney. The first agreement is an operations agreement between all of the expansion communities and MOGO, which outlines MOGO's responsibilities as the administrator of the MOGO operations. The second agreement is with the City of Detroit, as they administered the TAP grant on our behalf and are purchasing the docking stations. Per our operations agreement with MOGO, once the program is launched, MOGO will actively seek advertisements for stations that will help offset our operating costs. Additionally, the city will begin actively seeking out station sponsorships that we believe will completely offset our operating costs of $3,744. The city's capital costs, we budgeted $45,452 for the program, for the capital costs in the Public Improvement Fund for fiscal year 18-19. As stated above, we are anticipating the city's ongoing annual operational costs of $3,744 will be offset by sponsorships and advertisement revenue. If we are unable to cover these costs, though, through these revenue streams, then we will need to come to you for a budget adjustment to this year's budget. We don't believe that that will be needed, but just to make you aware of it. We're requesting that City Council approve both the Intergovernmental Operations Agreement with MOGO and the Regional Bike Share Program interlocal agreement with the City of Detroit.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve both of these agreements?
So moved?
Moved and seconded. Just for discussion, it's not a bike that you would take and ride for the afternoon. So can you explain how would I use this bike?
Correct. The idea for a bike share program like this is to really fill the gap between that last mile. So if you're using transportation, if you don't have access to a car or simply don't want to use your car to access amenities in cities and our now surrounding cities, or simply don't have a car. So if you're on the bus and you want to get off we've you'll see that locations are strategically placed oftentimes around bus stations or nearby, because if you get off the bus and then you need to take that extra, you need an extra transportation option from there to get you closer to home. Also, I'm sure you've seen it in downtown Detroit. They're not used leisurely. It's hey, I need to get from A to B. I don't want to walk there. I don't want to use my car, or I don't have a car to use it. It gives you a transportation option.
Okay. So I could take the bike to Woodward and then get on the Woodward bus line and go to the art museum,
Correct.
or
Yes.
go to the baseball
Yes.
game.
Yep. And then come back home.
Do we still have a professional team? No, sorry. Uh-huh. Any questions about MOGO? Yes.
Director Van Vleck, we were talking earlier, and you mentioned that you were hoping to have a bit of a timeline for the meeting. Did that ever
Yes.
come through?
Yes. The short answer to that is we don't know. But the thing is, or the a little bit longer but short answer is, the money that's funding through the TAP grant, the money that's being funded is through the federal government. So there are a lot of things that have to be done in the process that are out of our control completely. So I have I have an email from Lisa Neskowski, who is the executive director for MOGO. And there was a possibility she was going to be here tonight to answer some of these questions a little bit more thoroughly. And I can kind of give you a little bit more thorough breakdown if you want offline, but so I don't take up all of your time. We are in the process of a Section 106 review, which is the Federal Transportation Administration needs. We're in the process of doing that, and then there's a process from there. So they have to send it to the State Historic Preservation Office, who then has to sign off on it. So there's just kind of that typical wait period where we can only do so much, and so we would love to see the bikes on the ground by the end of summer or fall, but we really don't want to get anyone's hopes up early and then have to backtrack on that. So we're doing everything we can to get them on the ground as fast as we can. For instance, the city of Detroit had even offered to loan, if the money didn't come through quickly, the city of Detroit offered to loan that money to purchase the bikes in the facilities before that money was funneled through if necessary. So there are some things where Lisa and her team are really working hard for us to get these bikes on the ground as quickly as we can, because we all know if it comes winter time, we're not going to have a great kickoff to our expanded program if there's snow on the ground.
Thank you.
Anything else on MOGO? Nope. Ready for a vote. Let me see. Okay. So are we voting to request the intergovernmental operations agreement? Both?
That, as well as the MOU, as well as the bike share agreement.
And we're doing them separately? So approve the grant. Say it again.
Together?
One motion
Yeah.
to approve both? Yep.
So moved.
We already have a motion.
We have a
on the
motion.
floor.
Support.
So then we just need roll call.
Mayor McClellan.
Yes.
Councilmember Weiss.
Yes.
Councilmember Burns.
Yes.
I'd like to call
Motion carried.
Assistant City Manager Kevin Yee to the podium to go over 15C for me, please.
Good evening. This is a request for playground equipment purchase and installation at the Seneca Pocket Park. Plans have been completed for a new playground structure at the Seneca Pocket Park. This play structure, called the DNR Tower by Berliner, fits into the allowable space in the Seneca Pocket Park. The play structure will be fully funded by the Play Everywhere grant and the Community Foundation grant, as described by Director Van Vleck. The total cost for the structure, including delivery and installation, is $103,381. This play structure will be purchased under the NPP Gov Cooperative Purchasing Pre-Bid Contract. It is recommended that the proposed play structure be approved for the total amount of $103,381. The play structure is shown on the screens here, if you want to take a look. We did have a very tight area for the play structure, so we had to find something that fit within the space and allowed for the allowable fall zones and things like that. So this is something that
And was fun.
we found that looks, colorful, fun, will definitely add to the area. So we have funding for the project will be paid by the Play Everywhere grant for $65,000 and the Community Foundation grant for $50,000. One of the things that I just wanted to bring to your attention is I'm looking at the cost for, currently we have proposed to be wood chips below the playground area. We're looking at the rubber surface play areas. The cost of that is looking to be, they're still quoting it, but about $25,000 to $30,000. But between the amount that's left over in this grant and the amount we're going to pay for the wood chips anyway, it probably won't be too much more than what we have in there anyway. But I'll be looking to analyzing that currently, and I may be bringing that back if we think we can make it fit within the budget.
How long do we have a motion, by the way?
No.
Okay. Is there a motion to?
Support.
Approve and support?
Make the motion.
Make the motion?
Yeah.
All right. Motion made.
Yeah, and supported.
Second.
Thank you. Aren't they busy? I tell you. It doesn't last forever, the rubber on the bottom, right? What's
Well,
the,
nothing does.
nothing lasts forever, as we well know.
Nothing does,
So
but
what's the lifespan of
The
that?
rubber's pretty durable. And we have some in in Shepherd Park now that's been there for over 20 years,
Oh, wow.
and it's showing some wear, but it's been there for over 20 years. Playground mulch has to be refreshed every year and freshened up and cleaned up and weed removed, things like that. So it takes a lot more maintenance on the back end for the wood chips. It's cheaper up front, but it does take maintenance, more maintenance.
And can it be patched, or then when it starts wearing out, you just replace the whole thing?
It can be patched.
Okay. All right, any questions? Yes.
Just a comment. I just wanted to mention that there was a town hall meeting held to solicit feedback from residents about what type of play structures or things they'd like to see in these pocket parks. And I remember being here, I was in these chambers, and this one that was pictured on the screen was one of the ones that had the most marks on it. So I'm happy to see that this was the one that we chose.
Yes, we're very pleased with it. I think it fits what we're trying to do there very well.
Yeah.
Nice. Terrific. So ready to vote? Okay, roll call, please.
Councilmember Weiss.
Yes.
Councilmember Bernard.
Yes.
Mayor McClellan.
Yes, motion carried.
Assistant City Manager Yi, 15D, please.
Just to back up 1 second, it's unusual that a grant is that fully funds something.
Absolutely.
So
That's
we
true.
lucked out.
Yes, there was no match to these grants.
No
We were
match.
able to get it fully funded
Right.
for the structure itself, yes.
Nice grant. Okay, go ahead, I'm sorry.
No problem. Attached is a request from Macomb Pipeline and Utilities Company, the contractor for the 2018-19 water main replacement project M675, to perform the Kenosha water main replacement project M704. Macomb Pipelines and Utilities Companies has indicated they would extend their unit prices to perform this project. The total cost utilizing this year's bid prices are $616,080. This includes the cost to go across 9 Mile Road. So the project is on Kenosha, south of 9 Mile. What we've done, which was not in the original estimate, was we want to go across 9 Mile Road. We had a break in that section several years ago, and then we had one again late this winter after we had already done the budget. So we definitely think it's worthwhile to go across 9 Mile Road, take care of that bad piece of pipe. It is quite a bit more expensive to go across a major street like that, but we're looking to do that. The cost for that is over $50,000 for that piece alone. So I wanted to point that out. We would be well below the budget amount if it wasn't for that extra piece.
So the extra piece has been added in with the final total of $616,000.
Correct. It is recommended that City Council approve the offer for the contract extension from Macomb Pipeline and Utilities Company for the Kenosha Water Main Replacement Project M704 for the total amount of $616,080. It is further recommended that an additional $16,080 be approved or appropriated from the Water and Sewer Fund balance to extend the project across 9 Mile Road. There is $600,000 currently budgeted in the Water and Sewer Fund for this project.
Okay, is there a motion to approve this offer?
So moved?
Second.
Moved and seconded. A roll call vote, please.
I have a question.
Yeah, so question, sorry.
I understand from this that they are extending their pricing for this project. Is there a reason why we didn't try to also bid it out to see if we could get a lower bid?
Yes, we really feel, especially in the current climate of contracting, that prices are very high. And I think that this is a good price based on unit prices and what we've seen from other bids. And I think it's worthwhile to extend. I think it is a cost savings measure, to be honest with you.
Okay.
We could bid it out. It is an option for us. I do think having a good contractor is in town, will stay in town and finish out this project is better for us from a cost standpoint than it would be to go out for bids at this point.
Thank you.
Ready to vote? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Burns.
Yes.
Mayor McClellan.
Yes,
Councilmember Weiss.
Yes.
motion carried.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, members of council, this completes the city manager report for this evening. Thank you.
Wonderful. We're at call to the audience. We'd love to hear from you. Coming up to the mic and give us your name and address, and try and limit your comments to 3 minutes.
Hello. Jonathan Nachman, 10730 Northfield. This is more directed for you, Eric, because I know you have a personal thing in this. This is involving our famous 8-mile Coolidge sign. So, as my diagram shows, this is how we see it. This diagram shows how the drunk drivers see it. Yes, it's a target. So, being the comic genius I am sometimes, I've come up with some solutions. This is Plan A. Substitute the real sign for a fabric or vinyl sign that the car can easily go through and crashes into some 55-gallon water drums that are placed behind it. This would be the cheapest solution. Plan B is substitute the real sign for a solar-powered sign that would contain a sensor device on it that would quickly detect a vehicle impact and trigger a fast-acting hydraulic device to lift the sign up, allowing the car to pass under and crash into the water drums again. That would be the expensive option. And Plan C, which is create out of or put a new sign up there, created out of a material called sorbothane rubber that is very loosely attached to the sign posts and low to the ground with several industrial strength springs at the bottom. So the drunk hits the sign goes down, the drunk drives over the sign into the water barrels, and then the sign just springs back up in place. So that would be the medium solution. So I'm going to leave these with you to ponder.
Please.
Thank you, Jonathan. I will say this, in all seriousness, I do believe that this sign has now been hit 2 or 3 times. But I really do believe that in at least one of those cases that this sign may have saved lives because it slowed that person down. And when our officers retrieved this person, they didn't know they had crossed 8 Mile. They didn't know where they were.
Yep.
But
Or
it
who
slowed
they
them
were.
down. So it could have saved lives just from that standpoint. But thank you.
There's always options.
Is that well lit?
It was.
Got it. Yes, welcome, thank you.
Hi, my name is Leland Finley, and I live at 14410 Northfield Boulevard. And my question would be, we're having water problems, myself and several of my neighbors. One is here now, Ann Hopper. And I notice when it rains extremely hard, Church Street and Northfield would flood. And the last rain we had, the water had risen so high it was on the sidewalk. So I wanted to know whether or not City Council was aware of this issue, whether or not y'all was going to address it, and also the project that's going on Kenosha Street. Can someone address that? The pipes that's being laid, and whether or not any pipes may be laid down on Church Street to address the water issue.
Thank you so much. We'll have someone come up and, Kevin Yee, do you want to come up and explain it to everyone? Oh,
I also wanted to know that it was flooding in the house, in the basement. I had a plumber to come out today as well. Excuse me.
Flooding.
Without knowing all the information, I can only comment that I believe it's in the construction area. Is that correct?
Well, one block over is construction, but this has been going on it's been going on for maybe 5, 6, 10 years.
Okay. So what I believe, and I'm speculating at this point, but I believe what is happening is, as I think all city council knows, is we have restricted catch basin covers on our catch basins. And what can happen in the construction area is we put what's called silt sacks in there to collect any debris so it doesn't go into the sewer system from a construction area. But in general, the restricted catch basin covers do slow down the water so it doesn't go into the system, tax the system, and create backup. So it's by design that water is stored on the streets. Now, what can happen, which would cause delays in the water getting in the system on top of the restricted catch basin covers, is debris that gets on the catch basins, and it slows down or even blocks the few holes that are in those covers and can cause the water to back up. So many times what I usually suggest to residents is if you can go out there with the rake and uncover it, the public works crew usually comes around after rainstorms, and we will go around the whole city and look for catch basins that are clogged up or covered up. And we'll move the debris, and they flow pretty good. I'll take a look at the catch basin that he's referring to in general, and we'll make sure that it is flowing, that it isn't an issue with the pipes or anything like that. But it is completely separate from any issues that in the basement, and I'll explain that further to the resident too. What that does, actually, water on the street is less water in the pipes. So they're completely independent from water in the basement. So that's kind of what's going on in the streets.
it's a good thing if your street floods because it means that water is not going down your basement.
Yes, but it's by design that the streets do hold some water.
Right.
So they should only hold a little bit, though. It shouldn't flood the whole street, shouldn't flood the whole sidewalk. So I think that's an issue with debris that accumulates around the catch basin covers.
Super. And then,
Yeah, I will
and then
follow
you
up.
can follow up with
Yes,
Director
I'll follow up.
Yee afterward.
No, I was just gonna say, you are absolutely correct, because I have one in front of my house, and whenever it rains really, really hard, I'm always watching it, and then it rises, comes over the curb, so I go out there with the rake, and then I move its leaves and it sticks, and soon as I move it, then the water starts going down. It's like 2 or 3 on my street, and that usually happens whenever it rains really, really hard. And this last rain did the same thing. It came up over the sidewalk, over the curb almost to the sidewalk. And when I went out and cleared the top of it with my rake, in about 15, 20 minutes, it had cleared. The water was gone, and my basement didn't flood. I don't know what the basement flooding, I don't think it's connected to the water on the streets, but I have the water in front of my house every time it rains hard, and my basement has not flooded because of it yet.
I would think that with the combined sewer and storm system, if the water's on the street, means it's probably less likely your basement would flood.
Correct.
Yeah.
So you're saying if we remove, it's a possibility if we remove any debris, that might stop the problem of water may start.
The standing water, yeah.
We will look into it in detail, your specific issue with your area. Thank you so much for coming. We want people to feel free to come and ask what the problem is, discuss it and give us your name and address.
My name is Annie Harper, and I'm at 14401 Northfield Boulevard. And I heard Council Lady Burns say that she goes out there, and I've been there 21 years, and we have also gone out and removed the debris off of there, and the basement still floods. I've been there, and my basement floods all the time. And when I bring out the plumber, they say it's Oak Park problem. It's not mine, because they have a backup sub and everything, and their basement still floods. So we're not understanding the problem. We really are not.
can I have everybody's email address? Because in the next mayor's message, I'm putting something out about a warranty program that I think DTE Energy offers, and a friend, Cheryl Weiss, used. She was going to call the plumber. It was going to cost $300, and because she had this warranty program that is not very costly, the bill was $0. And so I'd love to have your email address so that I can send you that information. And I think we didn't have it, and we had huge expense and wished I would have signed up for it, because digging down to the pipes and all of that is costly and messy.
Very.
Thank you so much for coming. And would you, is it the same house? No. No. Okay.
And-
So you
And just so you know, I didn't intend to say that, well, mine never flood. No, that's not the case. I think it's about location, because my mom stays on Irvine, and her basement floods all the time. But she doesn't have the standing water in the streets. So I believe it's something to do with tree roots.
Well, that's what the plumber also said, that he said that it's the tree roots, and Oak Park needs to change the plumbing up under there, because every time they come, they say it's Oak Park's fault, not ours.
Yeah, the tree roots.
So you hear the sewer owls out, and it is the roots down there, because I hear these sewers, they crack.
But we as residents own the part of the plumbing between the house and the city lines in the street. We own that, which I didn't realize until I had the great honor of paying $8,000 to replace it. That's not the city's, that's ours. As residents, that's our headache. The city starts where in the street? At the connection in the street. So.
Yeah, so you would also want to, if your plumber is saying it's in your line, then that is yours, because I had to have mine replaced as well, and it was about $8,000 to have my line replaced in front of my house.
Right.
Up until you get to the city part, and the city part typically runs under the street, so it's not, and it's it's deeper, so it's not likely you would have tree roots in there, and the city also does a really good job inspecting and cleaning out. But if there is an issue in the city line, we
We
will
take care of
definitely look at it and take care of it.
I would also suggest, just as a preventative, my mom, she gets those roots, she has a plumber come once a year, just before anything starts, and just have them grind them out.
I do that, too, but when it flooded the other day, I was really shocked. We didn't have the rain, because I had a plumber come out once a year. Because after the flood we got there, they spent all the money to get all that work done, and there's still flood. I said, well, what is
Right.
it use? He got the unit down there, the pipes.
Yes.
and we sub-pumped.
Yeah.
I said, don't flush.
Come and see us after the meeting, and we'll have it, because the people at home can't hear all of that. Please come up. Give us your name and address, and explain your issue.
Good evening, Mayor McClellan and all of the city council people here. My name is Mrs. Thomas. I'm in the 24,000 block of Kenosha. I'm happy to hear that there are some folks here talking about the water issues. Recently, this past Saturday on my block, which I've been a homeowner 25 years now, we had a backup too again from the same area, and my street is the block that they're doing the new plumbing, putting the 8-inch piping down, and hopefully we're going to see the concrete real soon. That's another one of my concerns. Nobody has been working in approximately 2 weeks, so I thought we were going to have some communication, meaning residents and homeowners, to let us know as we're going along what's exactly happening. The plumbing, from my understanding, is completed, but nothing has been going on with the concrete. I'm curious to ask you all, when is that going to happen? Now, also, the area that I'm speaking to as well has been happening well beyond 2014, when we all had the major flood. This area just flooded again Saturday, since they've done the plumbing on my block, and it was backed up to everyone's tires. I brought pictures for you all to see when people were driving down. Another thing, Mayor McClellan, with all due respect to you and Mr. Tungate, I would also like to speak with a couple of the council people, and I'm also happy to see that Rob Barrett is here, because I have an issue with his department, but I prefer to give him respect too as well and speak to that off of the mic. just out of respect for you all, because there's some concerns.
We want to address your concerns, and all of us want to address your concerns.
Yes.
So thank you so much, and Director Barrett's right behind you.
Yes.
If you discuss it with him.
Yes, yes. And before I spoke with Mrs. Weiss and Mrs. Carolyn Burns, which I've spoke to many times over the years. And I see Director Cooper is out there. I've had to contact him recently too. And also Officer Benson, which I haven't heard back from. I left 2 messages. So hopefully I can get something done tonight. But thank you. I'll just wait after the meeting.
Yep.
And I appreciate you.
Thank you so much. Thanks for coming. Everybody else happy? Yep. Councilmember Burns, is there anything you would like to call to the council?
Thank you for coming out. Have a pleasant evening. Good night.
Councilmember Weiss?
Good evening, everyone. A few reminders. The Oak Park Farmers Market is still ongoing every Wednesday from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. until September 25th. We do have a Sunday market coming up this coming Sunday, July 21st, from noon to 4. If you don't normally get to make it to the Wednesday markets, that is an option for you. Also, at the Wednesday, July 31st Oak Park Farmers Market, there's going to be a public safety pop-up tent with Officer Cook and Officer Benson from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. They're going
Give
to
us
be
the date one more time.
July 31st, the last one in July, from 9 to 1. They're going to be talking to people about the 5 open public safety positions that are available. Interested people can ask questions about the positions regarding and questions regarding requirements, pay, benefits, and more. Applications for the positions will also be available, so if you're interested in that, please stop by. And then additionally, we still have our summer concert series going on every Thursday from 7 to 8:30 in Shepherd Park. And one other announcement, the library is getting an incubator in the library to hatch some baby chicks. So if you're interested in stopping by to see that, it will be arriving on Monday. And it'll take about 3 weeks for the chicks to incubate, so you can come and like slowly watch the process of them emerging. Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Yes.
I have an additional comment. Over the weekend, I was approached by several residents and several non-residents that attended the Thursday concert in the park, and they were telling me how good it was and how great the band was. Unfortunately, I was unable to attend, but thank you for putting those on. I've only heard positive things about them this year, and from my understanding, last Thursday's band was great. Please come out on Thursdays at 7 o'clock for the concerts in the park. It's free. It's a wonderful family gathering. Thank you.
We were there for that one. They played the Blues Brothers, B.B. King.
She also said you did a great opening and a great speech.
Oh my!
Before it started, yeah, it was just
my,
great this
my
Thursday.
next career in entertainment, yeah. Heard it through the grapevine. It's just so much fun. It's free. Come on out. Take advantage of this. It's wonderful entertainment. It's free. You're with your neighbors and friends, and you meet new people, you see people that you've met before. A chance for us to come together as a community. These are phenomenal events. Come to the farmers market, come to the free concerts, take advantage of what we've got going. And if you have any issues, contact any of us. Up here, we're here for you. We all want a better city, and together we will make one happen. Thank you for coming, and this meeting is adjourned.
And it's not raining.